Hey guys, welcome back to this dusty old garage out here and this Jeep project. So I know it's been a hot minute since I posted a video. I'll explain why. Mostly because I told you I wasn't going to make you watch over my shoulder with all the sanding and guide coat and sand and guide coat and sand and guide coat and fill and guide coat and all that. So I didn't keep the camera rolling for much of that. That's done now, for better or for worse, and mostly I feel like it's for better. I think as I look around, I'm pretty satisfied with everything. The thing I've struggled with the most, I'll be honest with you, is right up there around the Jeep raised letters on the kind of the front of the, below the cowl there on that, I guess I'm going to call it kind of the front quarter panel right in front of the doorway opening. Again, if you've watched any of the previous videos, it seemed like the way that they embossed that thing was just to slam a big old tool up against the thing and indent the whole kind of thing a little bit. Now, it's not like caved in, but definitely when you put a straight edge from the boundary of the door opening to the front where the fender is going to bolt on, you know, that there was a low spot in there. So what happens is if you're trying to cure the low spot, it's not too tough to go around the outside of those embossed letters, but it is a nightmare to try to go in between the letters, in between the J and the E and the E and the E and the E and the P, and oh, it's bad news. So I have been down there with like the 1-inch putty knife and a piece of sandpaper cut a little small and hand work and sanding and blow and rub and sand, and oh man, it's enough to make you crazy. So if I were to give you one piece of advice, I would say if you are in that camp of people who said I should have just left the tub the way it was with all the warts and the spot welds on it and just painted it, it would be fine. However, if you are like me, kind of not able to deal with that, then I might suggest you think long and hard about ordering your tub without the raised embossed logo on it. Because that was the biggest challenge to fix just because of working around those letters. So, but it's done. I'm hanging up the sandpaper and the blocking block and all that kind of stuff, and I'm getting ready to put up my pieces of plastic to kind of build out my paint booth here. I've had one other little distraction I'll tell you about in a little bit here that has kind of also slowed the process down, but I think I'm ready to get back on track here. So without further ado, I'm going to do that. All right, guys, well, I'm about ready to start building the booth here. So if you have hung around for much of what I've done on YouTube here, you've probably seen me at one point cleaning the garage and building a big pile of rope in the floor because I have a lot of rope. I guess in my defense, I could say it's all because I have that old sailboat out there in the driveway, and right now it has no ropes attached to it because there's no sails up, the mast isn't up and all that. So I don't really need any ropes, and actually they're called halyards when they go on a sailboat. They turn into a different thing. But anyway, I've looked around the garage. I have plenty of attachment points. The guy before me put up some hooks. I've got some hooks that I put up. I'm gonna take this plastic drop cloth that I got from Home Depot, and I'm gonna see if I can't kind of unfold it and lay it out on the ground, lay the rope down on, you know, up near the top, maybe 6 inches from the top, and then fold that top part over the rope, take some of my sticky yellow tape and tape the plastic to the plastic, and kind of leave myself enough slack there that the stuff will slide back and forth on the rope. Because then what I'm thinking is I should be able to do like a shower curtain, move it all out of the way if I got to get to tools and stuff, and then when I'm ready to paint, close everything off, protect the doorway and all my tools and fishing poles and all that stuff. So I will do this kind of right here on the floor. So I'll set the camera up and let you look over my shoulder, and we'll see how this goes. Okay, I got a little confession to make. When you're making YouTube videos and you're getting ready to post something up to your channel, you know, you're sitting there trying to think to yourself, well, what can I put as the headline on this video that's gonna make people want to watch it? Well, I got my headline for this one. I built a $12 paint booth. Seriously though, I think that went okay. So here's my false wall. I had a hook up there and you can see the paint, sorry for the light shining in it, but you can see the tape strips every so often. And here is everything basically from the door to the other door. And I could probably tighten that up a little bit and get it closer to the ceiling. I'm about 6 inches down from the top of the ceiling, but I am down to the floor. So there you have it. That looks to me like that's gonna suit my purposes just fine. So I'll do the sides, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna do them with a different piece of rope, so I'll have to take that one back down to lay my paper out or my plastic out, or perhaps I can string the rope and get up on the ladder and, you know, tape a piece and move along, tape a piece. We'll see, that might work okay as well. So I might try that first. If that doesn't work, then I'll either put a different piece of rope from the back to the front and that side as well. So yeah, I got the kayak up there. So I got that weird shelf hanger thing that guy put there before, and I guess I can kind of come around the kayak. I'm going to cut, you know, a fair amount of my workspace out here, because if I'm right here, this is basically where my wall's going to be. But I don't know. The alternative is take the kayak down or go on the other side of it. If I go on the other side of it, then I probably should take something. Oops, sorry, I'd be looking at my toes there. If I take it on the other side of the kayak, then I probably should take at least some drop cloth and put over the top of the kayak, just so it's not getting overspray settled down on top of it. So yeah, but other than that worked out pretty good. I'm kind of proud of myself. So I'm going to carry on. I can hear you laughing. I can hear you laughing. But I think this worked out okay. Here so far is my back wall, my tools. And if we open the door of our paint booth and come inside, you'll see that I've got all three sides up. Sorry for the light shining in your eyes there, but yeah, there we go. So when I actually start painting, you know, these are blowing as I walk by them and all that kind of thing. So I might take in a few strategic spots a little bit of tape and just tape them to the floor. But I think that is going to suit my purpose. Or it won't. Because here's what I'm thinking is, you know, I went very carefully measured my spans between my pieces of tape. And if you believe that, well, I'm lying. You saw me do part of it. I just went a little bit and put a piece of tape, went a little bit and put a piece of tape. So if we come out in the morning and all this plastic is laying on the floor, then we're gonna have to go to plan B. But otherwise, we're gonna go to plan paint and start doing our primer. Now, what I did before I started on this is I did vacuum everything up, swept the floor, vacuumed the tub, took a tack cloth to the whole tub except for the inside. I haven't done the grill, and the parts are laying in the back. And as I said, where I put that paper in the back, I might have to redo that because it's all covered with dust. But then I also turned the hose on and I washed the floor down, and you know, as much of stuff as I could. So I think I have most of the dust out of here, or at least contained, and hopefully when I get done, all my tools won't be the color of the Jeep. So I got to go make some dinner. I'm gonna do that, and then like I said, we'll leave this now and see if this holds up. Tomorrow I want to come out here and make sure it's not all on the floor because my tape didn't hold, but I think it will. I think the tape seemed to be gripping hard enough, and you know, this stuff's, like I said, this is 1 mil plastic, so it's not heavy at all. There's hardly any weight on there. So I don't know. There we go. My budget paint booth cost me a total of $12 in supplies. Well, 13 if you count the tape I used, but we're not going to count that. I'm going to call it a $12 paint booth. You wait and see if I don't, because I'm going to. Hey guys, well, it's tomorrow, and the walls of my paint booth are still standing. So shout out to the Home Depot boys with their yellow sticky tape. That seems to be holding up quite well on that really thin plastic and holding it up there. So time to get ready to do some spraying. I did mention that at the start of this video, I said there were 2 things that had been slowing the process down a little bit. Let's talk about item number 2. So if you recall, some time ago on this channel, I did have a couple of videos where my old 3-legged dog Bonnie was on camera with me. And if you recall, if you've been following me along all the way along, at one point, you know, Bonnie was getting really old, and I had to take her in at one point for some surgery, and she just really never recovered from the anesthesia very well at all. So we had to put her down, and that was rough, and it took a little while to kind of get myself back on equilibrium from that. But we had an incident a few months ago, or a month or so ago, where Gray and I were up in the mountains and we rescued a little puppy that was loose and got it back to its owners and so forth, but it started the gears turning, and we decided that it's time for me to get another dog. So meet Lilu. She's a 15-week-old golden retriever, and she is currently in the house right now, probably chewing a hole in the carpet or peeing on it or something like that. So it's typical puppy time, and as anyone who's brought a puppy in knows, you just got to be with them constantly, taking them outside and training them and all that kind of stuff. So I got my hands full, just in case you thought I was just being a slacker. But anyway, so it's fun to have her on the team here, and I'm sure she'll show up in videos more from time to time. So yeah, next time you see me, I expect to be doing a little spraying.